The rain had started before dawn and showed no signs of stopping. By 8 a.m., the lobby of Sterling Towers was packed with job applicants waiting for interviews. Men and women in expensive suits sat confidently, scrolling through their phones and rehearsing answers in their heads. Then the glass doors opened. A man stepped inside wearing a worn-out suit. One sleeve was slightly torn, and his shoes looked as though they had survived a decade of hard roads. Water dripped from his clothes onto the polished marble floor. The room fell silent. Some applicants exchanged glances. "Looks like he got lost on his way here," one whispered. A woman nearby smirked. "No chance he's getting the job." The receptionist barely looked at him. "Interviews are on the 25th floor," she said coldly. The man smiled politely and thanked her. As he waited for the elevator, people moved away from him. No one wanted to stand too close. A young applicant named David watched everything unfold. He felt sorry for the stranger, but said nothing. He didn't want to draw attention to himself. When the elevator arrived, the man stepped in with the others. Nobody spoke to him. Nobody asked his name. Nobody cared who he was. In their minds, they already knew. Paul. Unsuccessful. Unimportant. The elevator climbed floor after floor. 25. The doors opened. The applicants walked into the conference room and took their seats. Nervous excitement filled the air. Then something unexpected happened. The hiring manager rushed toward the man in the torn suit. "Sir," he said respectfully, extending his hand, "everyone is waiting for you. The board meeting is about to begin." The room froze. The stranger wasn't an applicant. He was the owner of the company. And every person in that room suddenly wished they could take back their first impression. The conference room was so quiet that the sound of the rain against the windows seemed deafening. The applicants stared at the man they had mocked only moments ago. The owner, the billionaire founder of Sterling Towers. The man slowly walked to the head of the table and sat down. His expression remained calm, but his eyes missed nothing. "I see many surprised faces," he said. Nobody replied. A few people lowered their heads in embarrassment. The owner folded his hands. "Before today's interview, I conducted the first part of the assessment." Confused murmurs spread through the room. "The first part?" someone asked. "Yes," he replied. "It began the moment I walked through the front door." The room became silent again. "I wanted to see how people treat someone who appears to have nothing." His words hit like a hammer. One by one, the applicants remembered their reactions. The whispers, the smirks, the judgment, the avoidance. The owner continued. "In business, you will meet wealthy clients, powerful executives, janitors, drivers, security guards, and strangers on the street. Character is revealed by how you treat people who can do nothing for you." No one dared speak. Then the owner turned toward David. The young man felt his heart race. "You," the owner said. David stood nervously. "You watched what happened. Why didn't you laugh?" David swallowed hard. "My father lost everything when I was a child," he answered. "People judged him by his clothes. I promised myself I wouldn't do the same to others." For the first time that morning, the owner smiled. A genuine smile. "Interesting." Then he pressed a button on the table. The large screen behind him lit up. Security footage appeared. The lobby. Every whisper. Every smirk. Every act of disrespect. Recorded. The faces of several applicants turned pale. The owner stood up. "The interview begins now," he said, "and some of you have already failed." The room froze. For the first time all day, nobody was thinking about qualifications. They were thinking about character. The interviews ended hours later. One by one, applicants left the conference room. Some were disappointed. Some were embarrassed. Some knew they had ruined their chances long before the first question was asked. By sunset, only David remained. The owner sat across from him, reviewing a file. The silence felt heavy. Finally, the owner closed the folder and looked up. "David, do you know why I asked you to stay?" David shook his head. "No, sir." The owner reached into a drawer and pulled out an old photograph. Its edges were worn with age. He slid it across the table. David picked it up. His eyes widened. The picture showed a much younger version of his father standing beside another man. That man was the owner. "What is this?" David asked. The owner leaned back in his chair. 25 years ago, I was the one everyone judged." David listened carefully. "I had no money, no connections, no future. Banks refused to help me, investors laughed at me." The owner's voice softened. "Your father was the only person who treated me with respect." David stared at the photograph. "He lent me money when nobody else would. It wasn't much, but it was everything I needed." The room fell silent. "I offered to repay him many times after my company became successful," the owner continued, "but he always refused." David's eyes began to water. His father had never mentioned any of this. The owner smiled sadly. "Your father said something I'll never forget." He paused. "If success changes how you treat people, then you are never truly successful." David lowered his head. The words felt larger than the room itself. The owner stood and walked toward the window overlooking the city. "Today's test wasn't about intelligence," he said. "It was about character. Your father passed that test every day of his life." He turned around. "And so did you." The owner extended a document across the desk. David opened it. It was an employment contract. But beneath it was another paper. A scholarship fund established in his father's name. David could hardly believe what he was seeing. "Why are you doing this?" he whispered. The owner smiled. "Because kindness is the only investment that never stops paying dividends." Outside, the rain had finally stopped. And for the first time that day, David understood something most people never learn. A first impression can change a moment, but character can change a life.